Review Guy here, and I am celebrating tonight as I am kicking off my annual horror movie marathon here on the channel. I'm going to be watching 5 horror movies tonight, back to back. Okay, so this year's theme for my horror movie marathon is going to be Part 3, seeing how this is my 3rd annual horror movie marathon, and of course I'm going to be kicking things off with the 3rd Invisible Man movie. I thought, why not get some movies that have parts 3 and watch part 3s. We've got The Invisible Woman, which is the 3rd in the Invisible Man series, Deep Blue Sea 3, Phantasms 3, Lord of the Dead, The Howling 3, The Marsupials, and Ghoulies 3, Ghoulies Go to College. Now, if you look at the selection, you might say, well, why not Friday the 13th, Part 3, or Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 3, or Halloween, Part 3? Why these Part 3s? Well, I've seen those Part 3s. So, these are the Part 3s I'm going to go with. Now, I will be changing tradition up a little this year. Usually, I put out my reviews all in the same night. This year, we're going to spread it across this week. There'll be one today, and then one tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, let's get things kicked off. Alright, just got done watching the first film in my horror movie marathon, and on some level it was kind of a disappointment because The Invisible Woman was not a horror film. It's sometimes advertised as being part of the Invisible Man series, which started with The Invisible Man with Claude Rains in 1933, and then you got The Invisible Man Returns, The Invisible Agent, The Revenge of the Invisible Man, and then finally Abbott and Costello meet The Invisible Man, and this apparently is supposed to be a part of that series, although it's not. They don't have any connections to any of the other films. And it's a screwball comedy. You know, it's not a horror film. It's just, you know, a lot of jokes about, we'll see that invisible woman. You'll believe when you see her. That gets repeated in so many forms over and over again. But I can't hate on it. It's got a great cast. It's got John Barrymore, Virginia Bruce. It's got Shemp Howard. It's got John Barrymore. It's got Margaret Hamilton. And it's, you know, it's kind of funny. It's just not a horror film like I'd hoped. They do have some decent effects when they are showing the Invisible Woman. You know, when they want to demonstrate that there's an invisible woman in the room. If she sits down in a chair or something, you see the impression. There's a scene where she's, you know, hitting the doorbell buzzer and you see it go in, but you don't see anyone pushing it. Yeah, and of course they got the scenes where, you know, she's in her clothes, but she's invisible, so it's, you know, clothes floating in the air. And, you know, it's funny here and there. And like I said, great cast. Not a horror film. Let's just move on to an actual horror film. All right. Oh, turn off you. All right, up next we've got our first horror film in our horror movie marathon. This was Deep Blue Sea 3. Okay, I gotta say, I was kind of surprised for a low-budget direct-to-video film. This was pretty good. You know, it had a decent enough story, likable enough characters, and some pretty cool deaths. If you're a fan of the original Deep Blue Sea, and you love that scene with Samuel L. Jackson, you know which one I'm talking about. There's a scene like that somewhere in here. I won't spoil where it is, but it is pretty, yeah. Also, if you're a big Malcolm in the Middle fan, Lost, you got Tanya Raymond. She plays the main character in this, and she's running around in the bikini the whole time. Yeah, I don't know what more else I could say. I really did like this one, Deep Blue Sea 3. Kind of wish I had seen Deep Blue Sea 2 because they reference it a few times in this movie, and I didn't know what the heck they were talking about. But it can kind of stand alone on its own. You know, you got genetically engineered sharks that are swimming around a man-made floating island, killing people. You got the conflict between these climatologist, shark scientists versus these company people who are trying to kill or capture the sharks and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, onwards to the next film. Okay, so now we come to the third movie in our Part 3 horror movie marathon, and this is Phantasm 3. How do I describe this movie? Well, it's like the other Phantasm movies that I've seen, 1 and 2, and that I don't understand a goddamn thing about it. I know you've got this guy, the tall man, he's an alien, he works in mausoleums, he takes the dead bodies, he messes around with them, turns them into dwarves, and I guess he takes their brains, puts them into these flying spheres, because he wants to take over the world or worlds, and then you just have all this sort of trippy stuff that happens, and you know, this is the third one. I didn't have too much of a problem with it. Like I said, I don't understand a goddamn thing about the Phantasm movies, but it's still somewhat watchable. You go through it, and at the end of the day, you're like, what the fuck was that? So that's, I guess that's all I got to say about Phantasm 3. What the fuck was that? I don't know. I'm 4 beers in. Okay, so now we come to the fourth movie in our horror movie marathon, The Howling 3. Now, where Phantasm 3 was confusing, The Howling 3 was just plain weird. I can't begin to describe what a weird movie this is. I guess you could say it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's a movie about marsupial werewolves in Australia. So let that sink in. And like I said, it's just all around weird. Be honest, I didn't like it. I wish I could be nice. But the ending drags on. And that it's like, just end the damn thing. So we're just going to end it there for this one. All right, moving on to our last movie. Cheers. All right, and now we come to the last film in our horror movie marathon, and that is Ghoulies 3. Ghoulies Go to College. All right, so we had one film that was confusing, another one that was weird, and this one was just goofy. A lot of slapstick comedy all around. Basically, it's a ripoff of Gremlins, but with demonic creatures. One who has a habit of coming out of the toilet. You know, if you're a kid of the 80s or 90s, you've probably seen the VH cover with a little green guy coming out of the toilet. Well, this is one of those movies. I liked it. I could see most people not liking it. The Ghoulies could probably be annoying, but I found them humorous enough, and I enjoyed the film. It combined something like Gremlins, which I already said, and like Animal House, like a college comedy. So that's it for this horror movie marathon. We'll have another one next year. I don't know what the theme will be. I'm open to ideas. But we're going to have another movie marathon because Alamo Drafthouse in Woodbury, Minnesota, is going to be having their Dismember movie marathon. After years of, putting it off because of COVID, they're going to have one this year. 4 films instead of 5. Of course, Dismember was the inspiration for me to do my own horror movie marathons. And I will be going to that. I will be enjoying myself. And I'll give you little reviews of the movies I see there. I don't know what they're going to be, but I'll do reviews on them. And that's it for me.